Yes,
Really?
sir. Yes.
We have the same values and the same everything. So it's anyways, it is what it is.
What is the
It is
phrase?
what it is.
Land of the free, home of the brave, right? Like, I think that's the anthem. But Chavi, are we good to start?
Yep, we're live on LinkedIn and YouTube as well. I'll quickly share my screen and we'll get started. All right, can everyone see my screen?
Yes.
All right. Again, good day, everyone, and welcome to our webinar. The topic is AI is changing hiring faster than anyone predicted. I'm Chavi, content manager at Recruit CRM, and I will be your host and moderator for today's session. It's cool to see that so many of you already joined us, whether you're on Zoom, LinkedIn, or YouTube. So feel free to drop a hello in the chat and let us know where you're joining us from. We would love to hear it. All right. Before we get started, can everyone just quickly confirm if they can hear and see all of the panelists clearly? A quick thumbs up in the chat would be very helpful before we get started.
And folks, if you can't see the screen, you might want to go look at your Zoom app and switch from the webinar tab to Chavi's screen because there's another tab that you will see.
All right. Looks like people can hear us and see us clearly. All right, looks like we're all set. I'd like to let everyone know very quickly that towards the end of the webinar, we'll have a live Q&A round during which everybody can, ask questions and, the panelists will answer your questions. So feel free to drop in your questions at any point throughout the webinar using the Q&A options on your screen. If you're joining on LinkedIn or YouTube, you can use the chat option and just drop in your questions there. We'll pick it up from there. And yeah, towards the end, we'll also have a fun little myth busting session. So you want to stick around for that one as well. Cool. Let's get started. All right, a quick introduction about Recruit CRM. Recruit CRM is a next-gen ATS plus CRM software serving over 1,500 customers in 100 plus countries with a global team of 200 plus experts. And our software basically helps speed up business development, simplify recruitment processes, and boost daily productivity, all tailored to ensure growth for your company. All right, let's meet our speakers for the day. First, we have Eric Lambert. Eric is the Senior Vice President at JDN Technical Staffing and Consulting. With 3 decades in IT staffing, Eric has mastered building strategic partnerships and motivating teams. His extensive experience in business development and consulting has made him a respected leader in the industry. So welcome, Eric.
Thank you.
All right. Next, we have Andreas, who brings over 15 years of leadership in technical recruiting. As managing partner at Canova and the co-founder of Fluid, Andreas delivers innovative staffing solutions across Canada and the US, drawing on his executive experience with industry leaders like Kofamo and Tundra Technical Solutions. So yeah, welcome, Andreas. All right. Next, we have Sean, our founder and CEO. Sean has built a cutting-edge ATS plus CRM software, helping recruiters scale their revenue and teams across 100 plus countries globally. In the past 7 years, he has grown Recruit CRM to be the highest-rated recruitment software across all major software review boards. So yeah, welcome everyone. It's exciting to see such a happening panel with us today. All right. Well, yeah, that's pretty much it from me. I'll stop sharing my screen. Over to you, Sean.
Yep. And let me share my screen and just confirm if everyone is able to see my screen. Can you guys see my screen?
Yes, we can.
Alrighty. Okay, so my first question is completely off topic. Eric, I just realized that you've been in recruitment for 30 years. So I'm going to ask you how you look the way you do after 30 years, right? Because I did some age math in my head and I was like, hey, this is not adding up. Did she get the 30 years wrong? Like, I just want to correct that.
It's a little more. I just keep it. I stopped at 20, then I went to 25. Now it's more than 30, but
Wow, okay.
it's okay.
So we need to figure out the supplements you take, basically. But anyway, we will do that. We will do that at the end of the call. But guys, what we want to focus on during this call, other than just general understanding of AI trends, is how real businesses. We have Andreas is joining us from Montreal, and Eric who's joining us from Texas, Dallas, Texas, if I'm not wrong.
Houston, yes.
Oh, Houston, Texas, my bad. And what we're trying to understand from them is how their businesses over the last 12 months, 2 years have used readily available AI tools and seen real impacts to their business. So just to start with, how are you guys using AI and automation? Does one of you want to go first? Maybe Eric, your name was first on the intro list. Do you want to go?
Sure. Yeah, we've been with utilizing our CRM and all of the great tool sets that it has. We've also been looking at external tool sets and testing them. And we're just trying to become more efficient and cost conscious when we're talking about scaling our business operations, and matching those with the high demand from our customers. You can't just always throw another body at it. So we're utilizing AI tools, different platforms, and with a partner like RCRM, all we have to do is ask you, can you bolt this on, or can you integrate? And you guys are always like, yep, no problem, we can do it.
And
So
Eric,
whether you guys create it or we ask about some third party tools, we're just trying to become more efficient and be able to scale with cost, and being
Eric,
mindful of the budget.
could you give the audience an example or two of like real situations that you have that were maybe more manual in the past, where now you're using a little more AI to speed up the process?
I can tell you that the biggest time drainer is finding matches within our CRM to job descriptions, and not just utilizing the AI tools and what's available. You can get very granular, and instead of getting a large example of people that may match keywords, you can actually manipulate the search in such a way you're going to get a much better return, which then will save money. Instead of calling 100 people, you can call 20 and find some great qualified candidates.
Understood. Andres, same question to you.
Well, exactly. So in recruitment, we always are looking to scale and grow year after year, right? So there's never a year where it's good to repeat yourself, because that means you're not growing or scaling. And the AI, we went with a question saying, how can we reduce admin tasks? How can we reduce repetitive tasks from our recruiters and even our sales associates, in order to ensure that they're doing the more high impact tasks that they need to close a job, which is qualifying individuals in person. So, some of the things that we focused on for our AI is reduction of those admin tasks, which Recruit
Could you
CRM has
again
given us. Sorry?
give specific examples, Andres, of one or two admin tasks that were like, taking a lot of time, that are now maybe taking over?
Simplest thing. You have a Kanban of all your open roles, your active interviewing roles you just wrote up. Account managers have applications, they're going through interview process, and now something happened, the offer is rescinded, or the candidate didn't accept it. The account manager moves it back. Automatic notification goes to the team, this job is back to accepting candidates. Very simple, but there's no email need to be created. Sorry?
Yeah, suddenly when a human would not only need to update a status in 2 or 3 places and then pick up the phone or send a personal email, now you're having a robot do the rest based on a trigger that you set, basically.
And that's internal. I can give you another external example we're using more and more now that we're getting confident with it, is the client portal aspect. So when we submit candidates to our clients, what we're finding, especially our tech savvy clients that really appreciate it, when they make an immediate comment about a candidate on we want to interview, or why we're rejecting, that 4 or 5 emails that we have to go back and forth and be specific and polite and respectful, we're getting it quickly. Sometimes it's direct, so we got to kind of read between the lines or re-engage the client, but it's done, right? So
they're just
again,
writing
saving a lot
sentences
of
and
time.
verbs. So instead of writing emails that start with "Hi, Andres, these thanks for the candidates you have submitted to me, blah blah blah," they just react on the portal and say "don't like," or
right, or not enough qualification or years of experience, don't have the certs we're looking for, or drag and drop it in the interview request with a couple of suggestive times, and we can just action that and then reply via email, right? So again, minimizing the admin and the senseless emails to focus on the things that's important, right? So and what Eric mentioned too, the matching, and I know you guys are working on a few additional ways to match. I think that we're looking forward to, because what it does now already helps, but imagine when you guys get deeper into that.
Absolutely. And the next question, guys, is as you were implementing AI and you were telling people, hey, now we don't want you to manually make job descriptions or manually format people's resumes. We're going to set up this bot to do it. Or we want you to use the bot to write your emails instead of you typing them yourselves from scratch every time and use templates and sequences. Did you ever face like a roadblock of people saying, oh, I don't want this AI to transcribe my calls, or like, I don't want all my calls recorded, or I don't want to use this tool at all. I just want to do it the way I've always been doing it. Have either of you faced any of that resistance from your team at all, or has it just been smooth sailing?
The
I
quick
think like
answer is always.
Oh,
Go ahead, Eric.
yeah, I was going to dovetail on Andreas on what you said earlier. It's all about confidence and success. Of course, most people don't like change. Especially in recruiting, some people have their process, and if they're long in the tooth and they've been in the business, it's tried and true. It's worked. I'm making money, right? I don't want to change anything. But once you turn the accountability over and start assigning, hey, the next job or the next iteration of something, I want you to utilize this tool. Once they start seeing the success of it and how it frees their time up and allows them to exponentially grow their business, that's when everybody starts jumping on board. It sells itself. And the converse is true too, right? When we're testing things out or it's in beta, we're able to provide information to your team, Sean, and it's helped tremendously through the partnership. But yeah, we face roadblocks. There's data quality issues. Nothing's ever going to be 100% perfect. So you really do need to learn everything about it, so that you have at least a few people on the team that can oversee or have some oversight into what's going on, what's working, what's not working, put some quick fixes in. But again, once people start seeing the success, not only in time, but in money,
yeah.
people get on board with it, right? And then they start having suggestions. Oh, I really love this. Can it do that? Right. So that's when it starts getting really fun because people are getting accountable to their business and they're wanting to become more efficient.
So, Eric, is it right to say it's not a cakewalk, as in you just buy a tool and it just magically does stuff for you? But if you're willing to spend some time and effort in bending it to your will, for the lack of a better word, and
Yeah.
making it what you want to do with a few days, months of weeks of effort, it's worth it, right? There's
Just
that.
like anything else, you've got to
Right.
learn it. You've got to try it. You've got to fall down a few times. And then there's certain things of certain, you've got many tool sets that we can use. Some work great for certain things, but not all things.
Yeah.
And so you can employ, many tool sets,
Yeah.
to get to that end, that successful end. And yeah, so yeah, we face some roadblocks, data integrity issues, some other things. There's a lot of candidates that are bots out there, and
Yeah.
it's sometimes the tool can catch them and sometimes it can't. You've
Yep.
always got to have a human interacting, but once you have that oversight and the quality checks are in there, then yeah, the confidence is
Not
is
as well.
on. Yeah.
And Andres, would you say you'd face similar roadblocks or slightly different ones?
Absolutely. The Eric's suggestion on internal champions, it's great. So it's not always leadership pushing down
Yeah.
process or improvement, right? So it's really all about time management. And Eric's been in the business a little bit longer than me, so he understands changing habits are difficult, right? And I'll use a very simple one. You guys have a very good Chrome extension, right? Where you can do a lot of specific data input, I guess, is the best way to put it, in the right places so that your AI internally can work. So thanks to the help of your people in the back end, when we were able to see the reports and we realized two of our best recruiters were not using the extension. And we go, how are you not using the extension? Oh, we're copying and pasting and we're bringing it in this way. Yes, every good tool has 5 ways of doing something. I go, but the extension, and we sat with them and we trained them again. And then we kind of said, today, all you do is use the extension, please. And then 2 days later, they came back and said, okay, So it's all about building new habits, creating that trust on a changed process, and they realize how much time they end up saving by just using something as simple as the extension properly, right?
And based on what you're saying, because I think some of the answers you guys both already shared go deep into this question as well. So if I am to understand correctly, what AI has done to your day-to-day workflows, AI and automation, is that it's not magic. It hasn't magically transformed something that you like. It's not doing something that you weren't already doing, but it's helping you spend less time on the repetitive stuff, like formatting a resume, or for example, copying and pasting information from LinkedIn and then trying to manually parse information in and so on. Is that majorly correct? That's what it's doing. It's not magically
100%.
speedy for you, but it's cleaning up your
Even
act.
the job descriptions alone. So we have a very heavily
Yeah.
processed with different colors and very important what to share with the client, not to share with the client.
Yeah.
But what we call these internal shouts are important. And our team has gotten used to having this information there so they can do their job properly. And when we originally started using chatbots before we switched over to Recruit CRM, like it took a while for people to trust the process. And when
Yeah.
they did, it was able to. Now we're showing them a tool that can do that, plus they're recruiting. So now they're not going to, the other efficiency is they're not going to 6 places to do 1 or 2 tasks, right? So they're able to click those buttons quicker to get to the results that they're looking for. So absolutely, yeah.
Got it. Awesome. And which part of the recruitment workflow specifically has benefited from automation? So when we talk about the recruitment workflow, we're talking about either the sourcing component where you're spending a lot of time sourcing, or you can also have standard pre-submission processing, which is formatting CVs, writing notes on people, doing that initial intake call to collect data. Or is it have you mostly used AI and automation in like generating executive search reports and client portals and doing engagement there, or setting up automations around that, like you mentioned, client hasn't reacted for 24 hours, do a ping. If the status updates, do a ping.
So
Which
I'll just say quickly because mine is short here. I think when we were doing our automation integration with the tool, we were told that on average, depending on how mature the company's vision in AI was, they do about 20 to 35 automations or AI related internal bots.
yeah.
I think we reached the maximum of, I think, 90 or 100, Sean, just to give you an example of whether it's our processes that are a little too heavy, but how we were able,
Crazy.
how much we were using it, right? So,
Yeah,
Eric?
wow.
Yeah, I'll just say this. It's the recruitment process that's benefited the most. And we have an inside out model. We have client facing account
Yeah.
executives, and then we have recruiters internal that are candidate facing. And I'd say that the it's saving the recruiters, which to me, I grew up, doing the recruiting thing. Recruiting runs the show. If we can save them time, everybody's going to make more money.
Yep.
And I just use this example a lot. It's easy for me to understand. Maybe it is for others too. Um, you can have one hammer and hammer a nail, or you can use a nail gun. And I think using these AI tool sets is like using a nail gun to frame a house versus just one hammer, one nail.
Yeah.
It just you still have to have a human behind that tool, but it allows you to scale and it saves time. So as far as the answer to the question, um, the recruiting part of what they do, that whole process of finding candidates, screening candidates, reaching out to candidates, candidate campaigns, all of that can really be the time
Across the board.
savings. Yeah, it's life changing.
And just for context, guys, Andres, you probably have the highest number of automations as a single company, uh, because
Sounds
90 is
like
very high. Because GTN, I think GTN has 50 or 60 active users using Recruit CRM, and I think
yeah,
they're in dozens of automations
yeah, yeah.
now, Obviously, I don't know off the top of my head, nor do I want to disclose, but like they're in the dozens of automations that are doing things. So at 90, you're automating essentially every possible thing that can be automated, I imagine.
We have a very high maintenance
Yeah.
recruitment team, but I'm
Yeah.
also in the same school with Eric, is that we sell confidence to be able to deliver, and your delivery is your recruitment team, and you want to give them every advantage as possible so they can succeed. Like Eric said, if they're succeeding, we're closing, and then everybody's benefiting. So I'm in the same school. So when recruiters ask us for things and we try to kind of say, well, no, but it's simpler this way, but then it makes sense after we evaluate it and we can do it, we'll do it, right? So
Awesome. And one quick question. So if you just had to list one feature that you really like out of everything that you used in Recruit CRM, what would it be? And it's ideal if
Wow.
one
That's
thing.
hard to answer, Sean.
Yeah, just one thing. One
Um,
thing like,
from my recruiting team, they would say the ability to summarize resumes
yeah,
and
formatted
the
right.
ability, yeah, to summarize them and get after they've screened them and they're going to present that candidate to the sales team to deliver to their customers, the ability to use the AI feature to create a concise summary that hits all of the must-haves and nice-to-haves that the client wants. They love that.
That's a top used feature,
Yes, sir.
summarization and summary templates. Awesome. Andreas, is it similar for you or different?
I'm going to answer from the business perspective.
Yeah.
Doing this for a long time and have integrated several different types of tools, I'm going to say what we appreciated the most is the integration of the tool. So I'm going to answer it
Yeah.
differently, right? So what I'm going to say is that with the heavy demand that we had and how specific we wanted things to operate, and even the little colors and the text
Yeah.
fonts and everything like that, I could tell you with complete confidence, no one ever said no to us and got back to us within 24 to 48 hours.
You have 90
And
automation Andreas, so you've integrated with everything.
no, that's it, right? So for me, for a heavy user, even with a small team of 20, like for a heavy user, for us, that business partnership. So I'm going to answer it that way, Sean. Like integrating the tool could have been a real pain, and it could have cost a lot of second doubts. I'd like to say you guys were able to alleviate those doubts and make everything we wanted happen. So thank you for that.
Awesome. Awesome. And now, guys, we have a few sections that we are going through that are a little more straightforward. Chavi, do you have something to share?
No, I think we can go on. Yeah.
All right. So super quickly, folks, we are talking about how top agencies like the ones run by our awesome host guest today use AI. But what is the global impact of AI? This is just some data points. The AI recruitment market is supposed to grow from 600 million to 1.5 billion over the next decade and a half. So this is the value of the amount of money people are spending on technology to essentially automate parts of recruitment. By the end of 2025, 83% of employers already plan to use AI for resume reviews assessments. So if you're not using them, you're spending more money per hire by default. And so essentially everyone, both in-house and agency, will be using more AI every single month over the next year or two as more and more people start going from the early adopter curve to a laggard curve in digital adoption. Now, we're going to talk about a few top ways AI can help recruitment agencies. So these are the basics. There's obviously significantly more advanced techniques and tactics you can deploy, which we'll give you a glance of towards the end. But let's talk about the basics. AI is used for automated sourcing and screening, an improved candidate experience to automatically notify candidates with personalized messages based on events that occur in the workflow. You can make decisions based on this data. You can organize your pipeline better, and you can just have automated workflows.
Yep. All right. So
Shall we have a poll?
yeah, we have a quick poll.
Yeah. All
Yes,
right.
yes. I just want to let everyone know that the poll is showing on your screens now. What is the biggest benefit you see in using AI in recruitment? And for the people watching on Zoom, sorry, on LinkedIn and YouTube, we're dropping the poll and the options in the chat. So you can just copy paste the option that you want to select and drop it in the chat, and we'll take a look at it there. So we leave the poll open for like about 20 to 30 seconds. And yeah, that's it.
And while those answers are coming in, I will just continue through. So here's a little blueprint to use for someone that's not using any tech at all, not using AI. So I think the top pick was faster candidate screening and hiring. That's what people care about the most. And we'll spend some time on that towards the end. So if you're planning to use AI or honestly anything, this is a simple matrix you can use to figure out what is important. So first you need to ask yourself, what is it that you're spending a lot of time on that is repetitive that you can use AI to improve, right? It could be formatting resumes, or like Eric and his team does, create executive summaries of candidates so they're easy to present. And these are things that you're doing over and over again manually, and a robot can just do it better for you. Consider the ROI. So if something's going to save you an hour every day for forever, then you can do the math. That hour every day is worth 4 hours or 20 hours a month, 240 hours a year. How much is 240 hours a year worth to you? And is it going to cost you less than 240 hours to automate that? And that's a simple way of looking at it. And usually, with most implementations of AI, you can generally see a 10 to 20x ROI because it's just very obvious, right? Because it moves something from taking 20 minutes to 10 seconds. Like formatting documents, doing your notes, and you need to take the full burdened cost. So it's not just the cost of like buying a tool, but the cost of training your team to use that tool, the opportunity cost of distracting your team from doing other things and starting to use a new system. You need to get the full costs in so that you have a clear indication. What are top ways people are using AI? You can use AI for matching. I'll give you a few examples. One is you can use default matching that's available in tools like Recruit CRM. But even more than that, this is what we've seen some of our customers do. Every time a candidate applies to a job, they set up an automation, sort like one of the 90 automations Andreas has set up, where they say send the candidate and their job and the job description they've applied to GPT, and have GPT score that candidate on a scale of 1 to 100. If score under 80, auto reject. And so a human doesn't even look at that. So they've set up their own model on their own GPT account, which is ridiculously cheap. It's in the cents because you're not processing millions of records. You're just processing a few resumes. But what you're doing is, if you're getting 100 applicants every week, you're ensuring that humans are not even looking at 10 of them, because most people just get rejected because they're not a good fit. So you don't want a human being to go into your computer, click into a bucket, open a resume, read it, decide it's crappy, hit X, hit update status. You don't have to do that. You get a robot to do it. And you can run threshold tests to see if 70% on GPT or 80 or 60, what the right threshold is that you should set up so that you're not losing proper candidates. But there's some threshold you can set up to reduce anywhere from 20% to 80% of the processing work you're doing on that initial screen. You can use AI to personalize interactions. So you can use AI-generated templates to do email sequences. So you're not even writing your own email templates. You can personalize them with placeholders. You can use AI to write your job descriptions so they're more optimized. You can use, in our advanced analytics, you can even use AI to talk to reports, right, in a sense, and build reports. And you can also use this to integrate with job boards, and obviously within your system to parse resumes, schedule interviews, give you recommendations, and so on. These are outcomes that agencies talk about when they're using AI. Most of it is around efficiency. So cost of hiring is reduced because you're just spending less time processing each person that gets to the interview stage. Time to hire is reduced because you're reducing admin work. More applications complete application forms because if they upload a resume, it just fills in the rest of the application. So it makes them more likely to hit submit. And thus, you can spend more time talking to the people than doing admin, and thus that increases the quality of your hires. Now, there's a few things you really need to consider while implementing new systems and AI in general. People have biases. and AIs have biases too. So, for example, in one sense, if you say, if you historically have race in someone's resume and someone writes their race in, whether they're white or brown or black or Asian, and they write that down. If you train an algorithm and if you selectively show it that for our company, 6 out of the last 10 placements for this type of a job have been of a specific race, if the race is on the CV, the AI can start using that to pattern match, especially if you're setting up your own GPT model and stuff. So you need to decide whether you want to pass that kind of information into GPT. Do you want to make decisions based on that? How legal is that? And so on. So these are things that are important to consider, because you don't want to be hit with a lawsuit for basically using AI to auto reject certain types of candidates. People have concerns around data privacy if you're shooting all of this data into GPT and what OpenAI is doing with that data. So it's important to do your research, understand how the data you're using is being used, and be able to communicate that with your candidates and clients as you need to. But if you set up solutions and you say certain kinds of information is not pushed through, you tell GPT to not consider certain kinds of information, you can reduce bias and still use automation to give you recommendations and scores. You can spend a lot more time telling your candidates or telling your employees and team how using AI is going to help them and how using tools is going to help them. Sort of like how Andreas did that training on using the Chrome extension. Because if you help your colleagues and if you sit with them and show them why they should do something, and it's not a scam, it actually saves them 30 seconds every single time they save a candidate. Most sane people will adopt to the new ways that are going to help them, but they need some hand-holding to get started. And then, of course, please use AI to pre-screen as many of your candidates as you can and score them. So how do top agencies use AI? We focused on a few points here, and now I'll also talk to both Andreas and Eric on how they're using each one of these, or some of these if they're not using all. We have 5 key things that a lot of Recruit CRM customers are using in terms of AI, starting with workflow automations. So workflow automations are what both Eric and Andreas's teams are using to automate workflows either within Recruit CRM. For example, when you move a job to a different status or a candidate to a different status, auto update the job, send messages and emails to people to start doing stuff, or connect to your accounting software, to QuickBooks or Xero, and make invoices, create DocuSign, stuff like that. And what this normally does is just drives productivity because you're not copying and pasting data across tools. So just a quick one, Andreas, any other tool that you want to mention that you integrate Recruit CRM with outside of the internal automations?
And just to that last point, it reduces the amount of emails that you have to sit and create and send to people too, which saves a lot of time receiving. And so the question was, what additional external tools are we using with Recruit CRM?
So because you gave folks an example of an internal automation,
right?
Maybe an example of an external automation where you're integrating with a third-party tool and making it do something with the automation.
So yeah, exactly. So marketing is a good example for us. So we have weekly newsletters, we have candidate pushes, we have then our monthly industry information that we send out. So every time a new candidate comes in, it automatically goes in, depending on the buttons we click, whether it's a candidate, a contact, or a client, and it goes into the third-party marketing profile where we want to target. So that's an example of something that's seamless for us that we've started using. That's helpful for the marketing team.
Cool. Eric, anything from you in terms of third-party apps that you integrate with? You're on mute, by the way.
Yeah, sorry about that. This may be just a one-off, but we're trying to break into new industry verticals.
Yeah.
And we don't have a lot of those folks in our database. Yes, we primarily focus on IT and IT solutions, but we're breaking into some other verticals. And so we'll buy some lists of potential candidates externally, dump them into our CRM, and begin a campaign, an automated campaign to reach out to those folks, find out about their availability. And based on those replies, we can have recruiters then reach out to have face-to-face contacts.
And technically, what you can also do is you can set up automation. So when you upload a bunch of people into Recruit CRM from a list that you've purchased, it automatically goes into your Lucia or Zoom Info account, enriches that data. And once enriched, it automatically adds a task for the recruiter to reach out to them or the salesperson to reach out to them. So
I love
that's
it.
all. I love that you love it. Yeah, and that's exactly how I felt when you responded that way. Uh, so now, how do some of these features actually work? We're trying to show some visuals of what we've been talking about. This is one of the screenshots from the workflow automation platform we have, and a sample of all of the apps you can integrate with. There's even more. And there's a few other things. There's a GPT integration where you can transform notes, transform call recordings into summaries, transform entire candidate summaries using templates like Eric's team does extensively. You can generate emails. So the idea is anything that is like a paragraph or a bunch of paragraphs together that go into a document. A GPT can generally do better and faster than you thinking and typing it and adding sentence after sentence. It's simply generative AI is simply better at doing it at scale. So you can generate job descriptions. You can add in notes to personalize it a certain way. You can write custom AI summaries where the system is generating a little summary or telling you what kind of position someone would be a good fit for based on the skills you pull off of them. Open a new tab. You can use AI to generate templates for you. You can use AI to generate templates in foreign languages for you. So let's say I'm sure Andreas speaks French, but I'm guessing since he lives in Montreal, but he could write in English and say generate an email sequence in French because I need to reach out to people who speak French.
By the way, that's another good point, Sean, about languages.
Yeah.
We do operate in both English and French, especially in the province that we operate in Quebec and Montreal. And I find the tool accepts words with accents and funny little dots on them and makes it easier. So if we're adding a similar name with an accent, it shows us all the names with or without, so we can make the right decision. So it does distinguish clearly.
Yeah, and that's true for other stuff too. So if you do a phone call in French or in English, we can record and transcribe both. And if you'd like, we can even translate the one that's in French to English or the one in English to French, and write. You can have a dual summary and stuff. So there's fun ways to use it for multilingual teams. Obviously, you can use it for resume parsing, which is very standard. You can use it for candidate matching, and this system is going through an overhaul as well. And you can actually tell AI to create a multi-step sequence. So you say step 1, step 2, step 3, and you can have AI create that sequence, and then you can edit it, and it can support multiple languages. So there's this, and there's a lot more. And the best way to see it is to do a demo with us. So if you're watching and you haven't tested Recruit CRM out yet, just say book a free demo. You can get a free trial with us. You can do a demo with one of our colleagues who can answer more specific questions you have one by one. And then there's a quick myth busting session, right? So the myths are basically things that most of us believe to be true that are not necessarily true. So what are some myths that you've heard about AI? I think, Chavi, we have a poll that's going to pop up.
Yes. Before we enter the myth busting session, we have a quick poll for everyone again. So it should pop up on your screens any second now. Yep, there it is. What's the one myth about AI you have heard multiple times? I'm sure everybody has heard a lot of different myths about AI, but which is the most popular one that you've heard? And yes, same for the people on LinkedIn and YouTube. The options are going to be in the chat along with the questions. So you can just choose the option that you want to pick. And yeah, in about 10 seconds, we'll close the poll.
And I'll use this opportunity to say thank you for inviting me on your panel. Unfortunately, I have a previous engagement, so I do have to slip out.
Yep.
Any of the 50, 60 participants that have any additional questions for users like us, I am on LinkedIn. Please feel free to reach out. It'll be my pleasure to ask on the client's perspective how our experience is going with Recruit CRM. Thank you.
Awesome.
Au revoir.
Cheers. Au revoir. Bye-bye.
Au revoir.
Thank you.
Bye, guys.
Thank
Awesome.
you, Andreas. Bye-bye.
So Eric, it's just you and us now. Andreas had been kind enough to share a couple of days ago that he have a hard stop, but
No worries.
We're getting towards the end of this webinar, but we just want to go through these quick myths, right? So the first myth is AI in hiring means we're sacrificing human touch. This is going to make our industry completely like robotic. What do you say to that?
No, there's always going to, and I may be biased again. I've been in this business a long time, and I'll date myself. When I first started off as a recruiter in 1993, we had phone books for
Yep.
candidates and clients, actual white paper, yellow pages. And that's how
Yep.
you would call in to get clients. That's how you would call candidates. And they said when the computer came, it would replace people, and then computers got faster, and software came, and then AI, and all. It never replaces a human touch.
Yep.
There's a lot of stuff that can be automated, but what we sell in the agency side and even on the corporate side, you've got people that are in that process. There's going to be a human touch in many cases throughout that process. It's never going to
And
remove the human being.
And Eric, what we've noticed is that what technology does is instead of replacing the human, in most cases, there's some disruption as industries change. 100 years ago in the United States, the most popular job was someone setting up a railroad, right? Like you were deploying railway lines because across a vast piece of land. Uh, just because that industry got disrupted with industrialization and so on, uh, it doesn't mean that it's a bad thing that those jobs went away. Those were replaced with better, higher quality indoor service jobs that didn't need you to be conducting hard labor anymore. The same way, what AI is trying to do, or what computers did over the last 20 years, is it changed the skill set required to be a successful recruiter. You went for someone who had to be really good at doing research and going through a phone book and finding relevant numbers and hacking two and two together and calling receptions and so on, to probably people who are, more cadence and process oriented, who can just use a bunch of tools together. But what it's also done is technology has increased the extremes. So the best recruiters today build significantly more than the best recruiters did 20 years ago, because they have more scale. So today you actually hear stories of individual recruiters billing $1 million, even though it's not super common. It does happen, which would have been completely unheard of 20 years ago or 30 years ago, because people, if the segment is high fee enough and you're automating large chunks of everything that used to take time, and the only thing you spend time on is talking to candidates, you can achieve significantly more.
Mm-hmm.
Another myth is AI is often biased by nature and it can hinder diversity in hiring if not carefully managed. My answer to that is true. If you don't manage it, it can be biased and it can cause problems. Uh, but in some roles, diversity might not be relevant, because in some roles you're trying to find people with very specific skills, and in which case AI is going to do a good job anyway because it's just going to be very objective. In roles where diversity is important, you can actually tell the AI diversity is important, because the AI is going to deliver whatever you put into it or whatever you ask of it. It's not making decisions by itself. It's making decisions based on data and trends you give it. So it can be used in both scenarios and situations. And again, Eric, this would be a question to you. Do you believe AI in recruitment is limited to just AI screening a resume and scoring it, or there's more things you can do with it?
Oh my God, there's so much you can do with it. We are finding new ways, and we have biweekly calls with our account representative, who's absolutely fantastic. And anything we ask of you guys that we want to add in as an automation or new AI tool, you guys are able to deliver. So,
Thank
just going back to what you're saying, Sean, it just enhances somebody that has passion and is successful in this business. It enhances what they're able to do and scale, which hopefully translates into more
revenue.
money and more success. Yeah.
Greater profit margins. And then a follow-up question, right? Another myth is things like AI take a lot of time and money to deploy and set up. So they're only useful for large companies who can dedicate teams to doing it full time. And you need to have hundreds of employees to start thinking about using AI and tools. What's your take on that?
No, absolutely not. I've worked for some of the very large publicly traded companies that generate billions of dollars. And currently at GTN, we're a smaller company, maybe only in the 50 to $60 million range. Our teams are small, and we're utilizing AI platforms and tools to be successful. So, yeah.
Yeah, and you think this would be useful for even a team with like 2 or 3 people, right? Using
100%.
techniques. In fact, it's probably more useful at that stage because you have nobody. You need a
Yeah.
robot. You need a robot more than a team that already has
It's just about time. I mean, you can do things manually if you like, and that's fine. But if you want to exponentially grow and scale your business, and if that is a goal for you, then I think embracing some of these new platforms and technology is only going to help you do that.
Yeah, and it'll make you uncompetitive if you do things manually that everyone else is doing automatically. It's like you're forcing yourself to walk to work when everyone else is driving, and that
But
adds
if you like to walk to work, then walk to work. That's okay.
yeah. But then you're limited to how far you can walk. Again,
100%.
it's a lot of challenges. So now that all the myths are busted, we will answer some questions. So Chavi, do you want to enable Q&A?
All right. So yeah, that's it for the myths and for the main session. Yeah, we now are gonna transition into our Q&A round. We actually already have a couple of questions from the audience members. I'll just throw the first one at you guys. Anthony's asking, automated rejects are okay, but CVs don't have all the information about people. They are subjective. Is there any solution for that? Maybe automated questions to candidates?
Yeah. And a lot of people use this. I'm not sure if Eric's team is using this specific automation, but what you can do is you can personalize job application forms. So every job you can have a slightly different application form with different questions, which could be answered via drop downs, via free text. And if you're setting up an AI model, like you're sending that data to GPT to score, you could say, send GPT the resume plus the value in all of these fields, and send all of that together and ask GPT to score it based on all of that info versus just the resume. You could even set up like fallback automations, meaning you could say when you receive a resume, if you receive it without these specific pieces of information, send the candidate a link asking them to fill that information in because you need it to assess them better. And once they fill it, then trigger the rest of the automation. So you can literally have a system involved with no humans in the system that's automatically capturing information and doing that initial scoring for you. And so when you start your work, you're looking at a list that is pre-scored.
And I'll add just a non-technical check. Anybody that's on the call or listens to this in the future that brings new talent in that are learning how to be a recruiter, this is a perfect opportunity for them to go through those rejected candidates and learn how to read resumes, comprehend why they were rejected, and maybe they'll find a few nuggets where they were rejected maybe falsely, and that person can bubble that candidate up to the appropriate person and say, hey, we might want to recheck this person. It's just a way to train and learn new people in an industry on how to do the old school way of actually reading the resumes and trying to learn and understand.
Awesome. And then that's true. Because you can't
training.
make a robot do everything for you.
Mm-hmm.
But and it goes back to the thing you were saying, but both you and Andreas were saying in the beginning around trust, right? You have to trust that the bot was being accurate over time, and the only way to know that is to use the bot to score first, and then see if the scoring is accurate, and then and keep tweaking the model.
Okay, thank you, guys. We have another question from an anonymous attendee. They're asking, how can I use the workflow automation facility to pre-screen and prioritize applications? So this one is for you, Shah.
Yeah. Again, if you use what you can do with workflow automation is once you get those candidates, you can combine workflow automation on Recruit CRM with any open model. So for example, you can integrate Recruit CRM with your own OpenAI account. And whenever you receive a new candidate, you can send the candidate to OpenAI along with the JD of the job description, a job description of the job they applied to, get a score, bring that score back into a field with a paragraph added by GPT on why they scored this person a certain way. So then you're essentially using workflow automation to pre-screen every candidate before you look at it. And we can help you set these automations up, of course.
We have another question. What strategies work best for sourcing passive candidates effectively?
I think this might be more an Eric question. Eric, where do you think you've seen most progress or success working with
Yeah,
passive?
using AI tools and things like that.
Yeah.
I'm very old school, and you may not like this answer, but I think every person out there, whether they have a job or not, whether they say they're passive or actively looking, I put them all in the same bucket, because if we're able to speak to them, if they
Okay.
were passive or active, they can change quickly based on information that's exchanged. Minds can be changed. People can be motivated to do certain things. So um, they're all in the same bucket for me, and I love being able to utilize the AI tool sets to be able to reach more people, so that I can have conversations. And one of the things that we do is we create, this may not be by design, Sean, but I like to go after really hot skills in the IT. I'm sure each profession or skill set area has their own hot skills. You know, what's in the highest demand right now. So we will run and search our database automatically using the AI tools, certain hot skills that maybe our database has, and those are the people that we want to screen, whether we have a job for them or not. We want
Yeah.
to build a relationship with them and be able to create opportunity by skill marketing them. So that's kind of a tangible way of us using an AI tool to find, what the market is buying.
What I would add to that maybe is like most ways we see what people source effectively is one, go through your existing database, use quick filters around figuring out candidates that you have talked to in the past, but not in the last 3 months. For example, you can use custom filters to find folks like that. If you're searching for folks with specific skills or criteria, you could put that into a Boolean or a hot list. And you first go through your existing database and you tag people as in like, are they engaged or not? Are they currently interested in roles or not? Or you reverse market them to clients. Then you go to LinkedIn to source people. We're also working internally actually on a global sourcing tool where we use Google X-ray search to help you essentially enter a query in natural language. So you could literally write, find me a product manager for a business to business software, a company in New York City, 5 years of work experience, graduated from XYZ type of college. And then it'll give you 20 results. And we will use Google X-Ray to find those results. We will use OpenAI to summarize them, and then you can download them and assign them to jobs. So we're working on some of that external sourcing stuff too.
Very cool.
But it's a combination, guys. So you have to use filters on your existing database. You have to source the internet, and then you need to ideally put them into sequences so you can reach out to them in an automated cadence format.
Yep. All right. Another question is, an anonymous attendee is asking, I use AI for rating CVs and creating summaries. How do I keep costs low when using Recruit CRM? Do I pay for each plugin, or does the monthly cost cover it?
Yeah, it depends. It depends on the plan you get. So generally what happens is you can pay for a license, and then which gives you access to using Recruit CRM, and then workflow automation can either come in as an add-on, which is priced based on the number of tasks that the robot does for you. So essentially, if it's $50 for 1,000 tasks or 100 for a couple thousand tasks, and then it scales down. But basically, if you're a team with like 5 people, you can probably consume 1,000 or 2,000 tasks. If you're a larger team like Eric's, that's like 50, 60 people, they're probably consuming 7, 8, 9,000 tasks a month, where the robot is doing 9,000 activities for them every month or 8,000 activities for them every month. So we don't charge per connector. You could have workflow automation. You could spend $50 on it. We will give you a person to help get everything set up, and you can use those 1,000 robotic tasks to integrate with 10 other apps.
If I can add, Sean, if there's people out there that are trying to figure out the ROI, we are working very hard at GTN to make sure that whenever the AI tool or whatever we're paying extra, right, the functionality, we're making sure that the source code or how we code where we got those candidates or clients, we're measuring those and keeping track of which tool that we're investing in actually generated that candidate or client that turned into revenue. And you can really quickly run some reports to figure out, are we getting ROI? Because we've been evaluating many AI tools and platforms out there. Is it worth it? Should we do it? I don't know. Well, you do a little pilot program and you figure out, is it actually turning an investment? And then you can figure out how much of it you want to turn on or turn off. I didn't mean to get real micro, but that's some of the stuff we're working with our CRM on as well, and making sure that where we're investing, we're getting a return.
Yeah, and that really helps, Eric. And then just one new thing, we are also introducing a new plan called the Enterprise Plan that's going to be a little more expensive in a couple months, which will include everything in Recruit CRM, credits to make phone calls by phone numbers on us, credits to do data enrichment and unlocking through our partner Contact Out, credits to do multi-job board posting, and also workflow automation credits. So you'll basically just get one subscription that has everything in it. And that would be another option to keep costs low if you're a really small team and you just have 1 or 2 users and you don't want to add up a bunch of add-ons, or you don't have enough users to spread the add-on costs on. You can just get an all-in plan.
Okay. We have another question. Scott is asking, as a new solo owner operator, what AI capabilities or workflows would you suggest are best to start with?
Got it. And I think we're freezing up a bit on Chavi's end, but
Can you hear me clearly?
yeah, we heard a part. I can answer that now. So if you're new and you're just starting your recruitment business, I would say you don't need to go overboard on trying to use AI, but you need to use it for the basics. So what are the basics? One, outreach. It would be super helpful for you to be able to reach 3 or 4 times the number of candidates using automation that you would have reached without automation. So for sure, use sequences where you can create personalized email campaigns with automated to-dos in the middle that remind you to call people and reach out to them. So use AI for that for sure. Use AI for call transcription, irrespective of whether you use Recruit CRM or you use a third-party voice over IP system, because that will save time that you take that you would spend taking notes on phone calls. So use it for call transcriptions, use it for sequences, use it for resume parsing, and use it like Eric's team uses for candidate summary or formatted resume generation. So you're not reformatting resumes yourself, so you can remove someone's contact information and last name and so on when you're presenting it to the client without having to do a lot of typing. So those are 3 or 4 things I believe you can set up within minutes, if not seconds in some cases, that would instantly produce an ROI that you don't really have to figure out and take time implementing.
Yeah, I would say, and I've started many branches all by myself before adding people. And the answer, the way I would answer that question is if you're finding certain tasks consuming much more of your time than you want it to, and it's counterproductive to growing your business and putting money in the bank, I would seek an AI automation tool or bolt-on or whatever to see if it'll handle that. Yep.
Awesome.
Yeah, all right. We'll just take one more question because we're almost out of time. But all of the questions we couldn't answer today, don't worry, we will be answering your questions over email. So Sean will answer these questions along with Eric, and we'll send these answers to you over email, in the next couple of days. All right. So we have a question by Cheryl, and I'll just club their 2 questions together. So they're asking, will the sourcing be a part of the existing offering? And the second question is recording and transcribing the call considered the AI or automation tasks that pulled from your pool of tasks purchased?
No. So answers to both questions. AI sourcing credits will be included in all of our plans. You will have more credits on the enterprise plan available for free than on the business plan. And the reason we limit it to credits is because we will be using OpenAI credits and third-party API credits for enrichment when we are doing global sourcing. So it'll cost us money to actually scrape the internet, enrich profiles automatically, and bring them into the system. But everyone who has a current plan with Recruit CRM will get a certain number of free credits every single month that'll auto-renew that they can use to start benefiting from sourcing. So that's a positive. Chavi, what was the second question?
I think yeah, the second question was, is recording and transcribing the call
Yes. No, it
considered
doesn't.
automation?
So recording and transcribing calls don't consume tasks. If you use our voice over IP system, which if you're in North America, it costs $2 per phone number per month. So if you get a phone number and you assign it to yourself, that's $2 a month for you to be able to have a dedicated phone line. And then within North America, it costs a little more than 2 cents per minute to make a phone call. So when you make a phone call, and let's say it costs you 2 cents, that 2 cents covers the making of that phone call, recording that phone call, transcribing that phone call, sending it to GPT to summarize that phone call, and then storing it forever. So it's basically for every dollar you spend, you get about 45 to 50 minutes of calls that are recorded, transcribed, and summarized, and ready for reporting. But they don't consume the tasks out of automations.
All right, awesome. Thank you. Well, again, that's it for the questions we were going to take today, guys. Don't worry, we'll answer the rest of the questions over email. And yeah, thank you so much, Eric and Sean. That was a wonderful session. And thank you so much for everyone here for participating and asking so many interesting questions. So yeah, that concludes our session for the day. And thank you everyone once again for participating and joining. To learn a bit more about Recruit CRM and our features, you can head over to recruitcrm.io. And we're also excited to continue these conversations over our social media platforms. You know, we are on LinkedIn, Instagram, even TikTok and YouTube. So you can follow us on these platforms to learn more. And yeah, for weekly discussions on all things recruitment and technology, check out Recruit CRM exclusives and our blog as well. And you can also subscribe to our newsletter. And all of these links are currently in the chat. You can engage with them. We'll leave the webinar open for a couple of minutes. And yeah, we look forward to connecting with all of you again. And thank you again, Eric, for being a part of this conversation. It was great fun having
No
you.
problem.
And another
Thank you
quick
so
thing,
much.
Eric, if someone wants to find you and reach out to you for advice or just follow you, what's the best place to follow you?
Yeah, I'm on LinkedIn, Eric Lambert. I work for a company called GTN. I can put my my link in the profile or the in the chat here.
I just dropped Eric's LinkedIn profile link.
Okay, cool.
Everyone to see. Yeah.
Awesome.
All
Awesome.
right,
Thank you, Shabby.
we'll also be sharing the slide deck in the recording with everyone. So you can, the links are in the slide deck as well. So you can engage with them later on as well. So yeah.
And thanks everyone for coming. And thank you, Eric, once more.
Thank you. Have a
Cheers.
great day.
You too.
Thank you
Bye-bye.
so much. All right. Bye-bye.